Okay, before I do the next step, I'm going to save my drawing. I've done quite a bit already. I don't want to lose it. You cannot save when you're in finish or in sketch mode. So I'm going to say finish sketch. It's asking for a name for this. And I'm going to go ahead and put HTC 2019. That might change later. I can always right click on it and rename. But for right now, I'm going to put HTC 2019, save. And here it is. I have ANSI large, ANSI A, both be default title blocks within the drawing. And then HTC 2019. Now again, you want to see what that looks like. Let's just go ahead and add it. And there it is. Okay, again, driven down into this bottom right corner. And that's all I have as of now. And that's okay, because all I have to do is edit here, save my updates or save my changes, and this will be updated automatically. So until then, let's go ahead and save. And so I save. And again, you can go ahead and save it where you want, or in this case, I can go to File, like I did before, Save As, Copy as a Template. And there's my HTC 2019. Hit Save, and yes, I want to replace it. And there it is, and it's there. Now I'm not going to bother going to double check or anything like that. I'm back here. I'm now going to go into, and again, I can right click here and edit definition. And there's my sketch mode again. Notice I don't even see my border. I'm going to zoom in here. Let's go ahead and do the approvals and date. So again, very similarly to what we did in AutoCAD, I'm going to create a no print sketch of something. And in this case, so I'll say sketch only. That kind of puts it on a no print layer per se. And I'm going to draw a line. Now, here's the problem. I drew this line as one all the way across. Can I draw another one right here? I can. I don't want to. I don't want any more objects there than necessary. I'm going to let constraints help me with this. So as I come across, I do have an object snap here. Now this dot here just happens to be the center point of that arc. But as I come across, I definitely don't have a center here, but it will pop up right there. And again, that is the center of this entire midpoint of this entire line. I'm just going to draw one from this line, just about anywhere, and I'm going to go up, and I'm going to type 1/32, a 32nd of an inch long. It is perpendicular, and I'll hit enter. And what I can now do is say, hey, I want this line from here to be half that distance, because that distance here to here is 1.25. So I'll click on it and then slash or divided by 2. And there it is. This is at the midpoint from here to here. And then I can do the same thing just anywhere on this line. Up, make sure it's vertical or perpendicular, 1/32. And then a dimensional constraint from here to either of these. And a distance of this divided by 2. So again, this one changes, and they all change. Now, did you notice everything seemed to shift there? I don't like that. I'm not sure what it is. Not totally positive, and sometimes you got to play around to see. Doesn't look like it changed any of my other values. It looks like it just threw off, kind of threw off where the dimensional constraints are, which is fine. At this time, I don't see that being a problem. I don't really like it, but that is what it did. So next, I need these other ones possibly. Another thing I could do, if I have one right here, I could just draw this and then use a collinear constraint with that line. Or object snap tracking appears to be popping up automatically. Now I can go ahead and do that, but just so I know for sure, I'm going to go ahead 1/32. I am still in sketch mode only, and then I will do collinear constraint. And again, don't like how that moves, so instead let's see if I selected the other one first. just kind of unsettling, even though it might be absolutely okay. 0.875, 1.25, looks like everything's still okay at this time. So again, a little nerve-wracking. Don't let that bother you as much as it's already bothering me, but if it does, I totally understand. Let's go ahead and try it this way and do 1/32 and see if it will move it at all. No, but it is constrained now because I have the little symbols there. And I'll do the same thing again for the last date. And collinear. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Now again, I'm still in sketch mode, and it's entirely up to you whether you want to do a rectangle. Again, knowing you need to understand that this rectangle being 1/32, 1/32, there are 4 parts to it. So if and when you copy or move it or anything like that, you need to copy it all. Now here is a problem that you're going to have, that I will have right now. If I copy this, sometimes when I say the base point, it's going to grab this line as well. Why? Because I did a coincident constraint there. Now it doesn't happen every time, and it doesn't look like it's happening this time, so I'm kind of good. I can go ahead and put these everywhere that I know I'm going to need them. And I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to do all of those. If you have a problem, if it's grabbing more than you wanted, it's simple. Just simply do a rectangle out here away from everything else. 1/32 by 1/32. Now you can copy it from here, from these endpoints. Okay? If you are in fact having that issue. If you're not, don't worry about it. Likewise, you will need all the little 1/32 of an inch lines at the midpoints of each of these boxes drawn up from the bottom. These two here, you don't have a constraint or a dimension, so you'll need to throw that in, so you can say that divided by 2, or you can just simply do the math. This is a 1/2 inch wide, so it'll be over a 1/4 inch, and this one here is a 1.5 inch wide, which means it'll be over 3/4 of an inch. Your choice on how you do that. Get those done. I'm not real sure why, but here a little bit ago, I just put these lines here over instead of doing a rectangle. I just did a line 1/32 long over 1/8 of an inch. And for whatever reason, it shifted all of these to where these vertical lines between boxes moved over a little bit. I have no clue why. Don't understand. That is very aggravating sometimes. So again, you just have to do it carefully and pay attention to what you're doing. So now I'm going to go back in and put the little lines over half the distance, or at the midpoints of each of these boxes. I did get out of here and save, so that just in case there is a problem, I don't lose everything. I recommend doing that every now and then if you're going to be in sketch mode for a while. So again, I'll go ahead and put in the midpoint or centering justification lines. Okay, it happened to me again. Again, I don't understand. One constraint I changed, and for whatever reason, these were thrown out. Checking all my dimensions, looks like everything is good, except these boxes are out of whack. So apparently what did not happen was when I put the boxes here, or copied them, drew them in the first place and copied them, that apparently that it did not recognize that point or coincident constraint like it normally does when you're drawing a line. For whatever reason, I'm just going to go ahead and do a point constraint, coincident constraint right here, and then I'm going to select this point of the square and then that point of the intersection where it belongs. And I just have to unfortunately zoom in and out of each and every one of these and put them where they belong. And hopefully that will then fix that from moving on me again. Again, the one on the left is the square that moved. So just have to go through, do each and every one of these. So you may want to make sure yours are done also. Again, very aggravating, but until we get a little bit better hang of and control of everything, this is just one of the things we have to do. So get all those done. Okay, this is pretty much what everything looks like. Should have all the geometry done, all the constraints, exactly everything where I want. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck sketch only, just to make sure I don't accidentally put something else in there. Again, don't let this bother you too much, how messy all the constraints are. For example, there's several of them over the top of each other. It's just the way it is. You'll end up moving some of these anyway because of some of the other information you're going to put in here, such as the text, which is what I'm going to do next. So I'll go up here. I am going to put the word approvals here, and I'm going to do that by here up in the create with the line, rectangle, circle. Here is text. Drop it down. You have text and geometry text. I'm just using text. This is a text box, and again, don't let it get confusing or anything, but go ahead and just draw it out. Doesn't matter what size. My recommendation is draw it a little bit larger than you think you need. It's going to automatically resnap. It's better than if you draw it too small. So caps on, approvals. Now pay attention here, and again, some of these aren't the clearest, but I'm right now highlighted on left justification. This one should be centered. Now, centered where? I want the bottom of my text to be on the top of that line. Now, the bottom of my text, this is not like AutoCAD where I have top left or top center, middle center, center, and bottom center. I have either top, middle, or bottom. So I'm going to pick bottom here. It's already default at 0.12 inches. I'm going to leave that alone. I could type in or select the 0.125. I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and leave the 0.12. A little bit smaller, never hurt anything. I do have bold, italics, underline, some line spacing, such as if I'm doing multi-line text, things like that. But right now, that's all I'm doing is approvals. And I hit OK. And there it is. Now, it is not exactly where I want it. It's close, and that was just by accident. So I'm going to escape a few times. Click on it, and you see you have your grips, per se. And I'll go ahead and just move them a little bit closer to what the word is. Call it good. Now I'm just going to grab this one. Now if I grab this one, notice it's going to resize, resize, resize. But this one here is going to turn to red. Excuse me while I cough. It's going to turn red because that is the grip that is going to move it. That is the justification. If I want to double check, I can double click on the word, and it is center and bottom. And that is the one that I'm on. So I'm going to grab this, and I am going to put it until I see the little green object snap or blip pop up there on the end of that line. And if you want, again, to play with the idea of copying, you can. Probably just to get a little bit more used to this and to prevent other problems, I'm just going to go ahead and do it individually for each one. And date. And notice again, these are back to what they were, so I'm going to do bottom and center. Hit OK. And I'll resize. Not all of them need to be resized. Sometimes it's just make it a little easier for you to deal with them. Okay. Now let's see. I'm going to go ahead and save. I'll tell you what. First, I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to do sketch only. Notice it's not changing. So it's almost as if text, it does not allow you to throw text in for a non-print layer per se. You do have a few other drop downs here. You don't really need to mess with those right now. But so date and approvals at this time. I'm going to go ahead and hit finish, save yes. I'm going to update it, and there they are. And they look pretty good. There is some daylight under here, some clearance. They are also equal, and they are equally spaced. So at this time, that is all good. Now notice as I'm just doing a quick check, I see 3 little lines here, 1, 2, 3, that I failed to put on sketch only or a no print layer. So I'll go to HTC, edit, and those were these 3 here. And I will say sketch only. And finish, and yes. And now they're gone, so good. And edit. I will continue putting in the words. Let's go ahead and do this one here. Now again, this is your, whatever works best for you. First initial, last name, last initial, whatever it may be. Your choice. I'll leave that up to you, and then we can discuss it together. Now this one is going to be a bottom right justification. And so F dot last. Notice I don't have any spaces there. Bottom right justification. And I'll put it there. Again, a little larger than what it needs to be, but that's okay. And then RAM for mine, just in this one. Don't put it in the, I'll delete that. Don't put it in the approved one yet. This is drawn. We also need to do our drawn up here. That'll be top left, top left, top left, bottom right, bottom center, bottom center. So I'll let you go ahead and fill in each of those. At this time, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and do a date. And let's see if I can do something here. And I'll experiment as we're doing it together. And I'll just put a date here. And I'll say it's today's date. So 12-10-19. It is bottom center. And as I swipe that, or either way, I had another drop down up on the format. And I apologize. Let me go ahead and finish it there. And I will click on it here and drop this down. This here, by layer, line type, by layer, line color, line weight, show format, toggle switch it, toggles sketch properties setting, and format. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that last part of my video. Don't need it, don't need it, don't need it. We're not going to discuss that. One thing you will want to do is make sure this text style looks like it comes up to Homa font by default. Make sure all of those are changed to Arial. Not much of a difference, a slight difference. The J and some of those letters will have little hats and bases to them. So other than that, you really can't tell the difference. But it would be best to just go ahead and change each of those. And I apologize if you didn't do that. I should have mentioned that ahead of time before you start changing it. We'll need to get into other templates and create our text styles that way to begin with, which if you want to play with, save edits and manage style editor. And you can get into your text style here. So I'll let you play with that a little bit on your own. If you have problems with it, ask me and I'll help you. But I really don't want to extend this video any longer than it needs to be, so I'm going to pause and get that taken care of. If you have done quite a bit of text, just go up here to Manage Style Editor, and 2 of the 3 text styles you can just change right here. If you're not highlighted already, over here in text, expand it. Label text right here, change this to Arial. Note text right here, change this to Arial. And you'll be fine. And then save and close, and it should update automatically. I'm going to let you finish up all the wording on there.